travel filmmaking, it sounds very glamorous.
If you look online, it looks like we're permanently on holiday.
We gave up everything. We weren't at a point where we had like 10 clients lined up.
It's a new year. It's a beautiful year. And you've probably been traveling. And that's why we're inspired by travel filmmakers, Simon and Vernon. Thank you so much for joining us. This is such an adventure. Trying to book these guys. You try. It's a mission. I was afraid that I'd be turning 74 before I get these guys in here. So we are so delighted to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited.
Pleasure to be here.
Listen, I think travel filmmaking, it sounds very glamorous. It's wonderful, but you guys had the vision to move from a conventional corporate job, learn yourself filmmaking, and then pursue this as a full-time job. What challenges did you face? Challenges that you faced, but not also challenges. What investments in yourself and year-wise did you need to make to say, listen, I'm confident enough that I will make this massive move?
Everything.
Everything.
It's everything. No, really, because when we made that switch, let me start from the beginning. We never knew that you could get income and get paid to post online. That was beyond us. We were deep in the corporate space. So when we got that first client saying, hey, we'll pay you, our minds were blown. And then we realized, oh, okay, so now if we reach out to other people, maybe they'll also pay us, right? And we gave up everything. We weren't at a point where we had like 10 clients lined up, where we had the best gear in the industry, none of that. But we decided that if we pour every single thing into this, it's going to work. And we're not going to give up. We were dead set on it. And if you don't take that risk, it's not going to pay off, right? So yeah, it's everything.
I think also the confidence it wasn't this one-time moment where the confidence came to make this decision. It was gradually, as we landed more clients, our confidence grew, and we could see that, okay, if we keep pursuing this, we can actually do this and be profitable. And I mean, it started with a side hustle. So we were working like normal corporate hours, and we literally just worked on the weekends or after hours. But we started realizing that if we pursue this and put all our time into it, that we can actually really make a success. And it eventually got to a point where I just knew in my heart that if we pursue this, we had the clients, we had a few retainers as well, which is a big thing for us. Just to know, coming from a salary and expecting a certain, and you have your expenses, that was a whole new territory, moving somewhere where it's sporadic, you don't know what to expect. So the retainers played a big part, especially at the beginning, just to know at least I can cover this. And then whatever else is just on top of that. So yeah, it was a long process to get there. And as time went on, we just always invested back into ourselves, so our gear, our experience, our skills. Everything we earned, we reinvested it into our business, especially at the beginning. Like it literally, we put everything in, and it seems to have paid off.
But this is something that you didn't take a loan on. So was there one of you that had to convince the other that maybe we should do this?
Yeah, I mean, to give you an idea, when we started doing this as a side hustle, we were both actually quite unhappy in our corporate jobs. But I was a lawyer, so my mind was like, I'm going to make so much money, and I need to do this. But maybe Vernon can do it, and he can start getting into it. His boss at the time was a bleep word, and we were driving home one day. We just moved to Wellington. We were still working in the city, so that peak time traffic, an hour and a half to get home. And he was telling me the story about how terrible this person was to him, his boss. And at that moment I was like, you know what, we're done. You are resigning. You're resigning, and you're giving him the least amount of time possible with your notice period that is legally required, just to kind of and we both just, on that moment, I will never forget the exact place we were when we were driving, when we were having that conversation and made that realization, like, we're really going to do this. And Vernon was amazing. I mean, he jumped right into it, and I think we had one retainer client for 4,000 Rand, and that was it. But he dove in and he did everything he could to build our business.
I mean, the pressure was on. Simone was still working in corporate. I also knew she was pretty unhappy. And as a result of her giving me this chance that, look, you can quit your job, let's do this, I was in just this mindset of I need to build now and I need to create something so that she can also get and she can join me. And that's what happened ultimately. We kept on investing everything, all our energy into it. And I mean, it's the results speak for themselves. I feel like really it's all panned out. And what we're doing now, back then, I wouldn't even have believed all these opportunities, the types of experiences. And it's powerful once you put your mind to something, what you can achieve. It's incredible.
I remember years ago when I met my wife's grandfather. He knows I do this video thing as a hobby, but what do I do it for a real job? And I think that pertains to more the larger social pressure of your parents, expectations from people that you love that say, why would you do something crazy like this if you already have it kind of solid? Did you experience any of that existential pressures or external pressures as well? And did that put fire in you to even work harder to prove it wrong?
It was that voice in the back of my head. Am I making a mistake? Because we're going from something that was the norm. After school, you would study, and then you would get a job, and you would work that job. And so there was a voice in the back of my head. Am I making a mistake? But also, I was so unhappy in my corporate job that I knew that that's not the life that I want to live. And it just made sense for me to pursue this, because I knew this. I just had a feeling that if we put everything that we have into this, we can make it work. And we obviously saw people in the industry doing quite well for themselves. So it was sort of a calculated risk. We knew there are people that are making success. So let's learn from them. Let's see what they are doing right. And, let's use that to better ourselves and to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, my family was quite supportive, and I was shocked because I thought, oh, wow, and your family they were also very supportive. I think they've seen the behind the scenes of what we were trying to do and accomplish. But we live in Wellington, and our neighbor is a retired man. And when we told him, he's like, are you sure? Are you really sure this? Don't you want to stay a lawyer? He said to me, because Vernon was already doing it. I said, no, this is going to work. And I think the only time he actually believed us was when we did a collab with Ford, and we brought this big Ranger home. And he's like, okay, you've made it.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. Yeah. Okay, so delve us into the business of travel filmmaking. What is the value offering that you are putting onto the table for a brand? How do you calculate the value that you bring to the table? Is it your own channel's views? Is it the way that you position the content for their channels? Where does the true value lie for your clients?
For us, we think about content as a marketing tool for a business. We produce an asset for them that they could potentially use over the span of many years. It's a once-off investment normally, and it's something that they keep on passively earning value from and attracting clients. So what we do is on our own channel, our travel filmmaking channel, we use that more as a way to amplify the content that we've already created for a client. A lot of times we create content or a business asset for a company that they would just use themselves. So they've got a particular goal with that piece of content, whether it's to boost it online, or maybe it's a banner for their website they've rebranded. That way we wouldn't necessarily post about it. So there's a lot of stuff that we do that we aren't in necessarily. We just act more as a production company, but then we also have the part where we are actually not only behind the camera, but also in front of the camera. And I think what people want to see nowadays is that authenticity. So instead of just an ad that you see online, if it's a collaborative post with someone that's their brand is literally themselves, so they are the brand. If you work with a company and you do a collaborative post with them, there's that connection of it's not just an ad. These are real people and it gives that authenticity. I think people trust it more because nowadays people see so much content, people almost get desensitized. So it's really about producing things that stand out and like changes people's perception. So I think what we are doing is ultimately creating an asset for a company that they could keep on using and elevate their brand perception, gain trust from their audience. I mean, for example, also with the travel filmmaking, we also do a lot of just your normal booking platform photos. So if you think about people's perception of they have the choice between two villas that they want to book for a holiday, the visuals play a massive part in that. Like most people may base their decision off of the visuals that they see online. So if your visuals are lacking, that's already just the psychology behind it. People they'll tend to go for something that looks better online. That's just the way it is. And that's what we provide. So by investing once off in a project like that, where we shoot your whole property, you potentially gain income from that for 3-4 years. So it's just changing it more to it's an asset, not just content. It's not just social media. It can be used across from the website through to even prints and everything in between.
But maybe, Simon, run me by, Vernon really touched now on the once-offs, but the true lifeblood of a business is the cash flow. And so you briefly touched on retainers, and that was the thing that gave you confidence to actually make the big move, right? So tell me where the value lies in those retainers for businesses.
Oh, it's massive. I mean, what is great about a retainer is that you kind of set yourself up for the month. You know, okay, this is what I need to provide. This is my output, but this is also what I'm gaining from it. And I can, if you've got a bond or you've got a car payment or whatever, you can set that off. So, okay, cool, that is paid. Maybe I need more, or maybe that covers it just enough. And then the rest of the money that comes in, I can actually do the fun stuff with, right? The problems with retainers is it's twofold. It's great and it's not so great, because we tend to feel like with retainers, you give that client an extra bit of attention every month. You give them a bit of a discount because they are continuously supporting you. So obviously you're not going to charge them the massive package when it's a retainer, because it goes both ways. You know, they feel that value. Where with once-off projects, you can go in bigger and you can say, and you can add add-ons to that, because you know that it's a once-off, they might need it again. Or, you know, instead of what we like to do is, if we've got a client and they've got a set package of deliverables, if we shoot a little bit more, that's a value add that you give them later on and say, hey, you know, we've got extra footage. If this is something you're interested in, instead of them going and hiring another photographer again to get another big bank of content, they can just add a little bit extra, save money that way, and get extra footage.
What I'm hearing is that you are, I mean, you can't fly to Zanzibar every month to, you know, top up your retainer, right? So the retainer lies more in your post-production and the repackaging, or how would you position your retainer?
So normally with us, we try and shoot as much as possible. Even though we've agreed on a specific scope, we normally go beyond that scope. As you rightfully said, we travel very far to these destinations, and we want to add as much value as we can. So we know the reality is, if you only have one shoot and we literally just stick to, we're only going to produce one video for you and give you 15 photos and that's it. Yes, there's value in that, but I mean, I believe we can do more. So we definitely have add-ons to that, where we could potentially provide clients with additional edits, because we're sitting on a bank of footage. So we're building a content bank for this client that they can possibly pull from for years. So our approach is normally to go beyond scope and produce as much as we can, because we know we can then pick and choose once we go into post, and we know we've got options. And we also can put packages together for the client and say, this is what we can do. And we try and illustrate the value that they would get from that. So,
I mean, yeah, with the retainer thing, though, just to kind of put it at ease, although we are travel filmmakers, we also have our own little production company, which is Versi Creative. And that's actually where we make most of our money from. So the retainers will be via Versi Creative, and we don't necessarily need to travel every single month to go and shoot travel destinations. It's, you know, it's other industries that we also shoot. So not just within travel, tourism, properties, but outside of that as well. That's actually where our retainers lie.
Amazing. I'd love to touch a little bit still, though, on the travel filmmaker components. And let's say, for instance, you rock up in Portugal, the weather is atrocious, you've got 3 days. I mean, surely that something like that must have happened. How do you approach, tough circumstances outside of your control?
So luckily, so far didn't have any like terrible weather. We've traveled very far, so it's more the local jobs in Cape Town over. Okay. So a lot of properties book you over the winter season, because that's when they were quiet.
True.
But that's also the struggle for us, is normally the weather is not the best. So we try and keep an eye on the weather and try and make a calculated decision. We keep an eye on the weather and see, okay, we've got a shoot next weekend. It's looking like it's going to rain the whole weekend. But then there's also been times where the weather just changes. It's very unpredictable. And then we're sitting in the middle of this project where there's high expectations. They've hired us, paid us money to produce something amazing. And we end up just having to adjust, be flexible, and we can only control what we can control, and the weather is something you can't control. So we normally just try and keep the communication with the client open, manage the expectations. And, Photoshop also comes in handy for the sky sometimes.
Nice sky replacement.
Maybe with the AI as well, we can start working some magic. It's obviously a big challenge for us shooting outdoors a lot of times. The indoor stuff, we also try and see if the weather's not good at the moment. Let's try and get some indoor scenes. And then a lot of times we have this amazing sunset. It was raining the whole day, and then the clouds pull open, and it's just wow. So it's the magic of it. You don't know what to expect. Very unpredictable.
Now, sometimes find when I have to travel that I might go overweight, and then I find that there's only space that I have for little tidbits of clothing and maybe a toothbrush is inside the tripod bag. How does a travel filmmaker travel, still keep your content cinematic, but you have a limited amount of stuff that you can really pack? You don't want to lunge 40K worth of stuff around, do you?
It's honestly one of my nightmares. I love traveling, but I don't like the travel part because it's just, we've been at airports where they've had issues with our gear, where it's never been an issue before. And then you have to kind of have this argument, and it's like, oh my gosh. So, the one great investment we did last year, I think, or maybe just over a year ago, was get a low pro wheeler bag.
Yeah.
Because we always used to have the backpacks, but it gets so heavy in passport control and everything. It's so hectic that we got the roller bag. It's quite expensive, but it's amazing. So now you run in the airport and it's fine. But what is really difficult is the jobs where we have to model on. And that's most of our international jobs. So we both have to plan our outfits for a specific hotel or resort. But then together with that, it's the spa, it's the restaurant, it's the room content, it's the destination activities to show the city, then the tourism that you've got there. So you've got to plan something for everything. And especially when we go to the Muslim countries, then obviously you have to cover up. So then your clothes get bigger as well, It's a challenge. It is a challenge. We've lost baggage. That's then they lose it, and we only get it 2 days later. The one thing that we did learn was to put your tripod in your check-in luggage, because usually we don't have an issue, but there's been twice where they stopped us and they wouldn't allow us through security because they see it as a weapon. So it's not big tripods like you've got over here. It's more the travel kind of tripod. But yeah, they were. I think it was in Indonesia.
It was in Turkey or Indonesia, but also just packing a lean and mean kit, knowing that this is what we have. Obviously, we can't carry all the lighting, everything that ideally we would love to have. We've got a backpack, and everything we can fit in that backpack is what we're going to use. So it's a challenge, but also I think nowadays the tech that's out there and the equipment that's out there, it's getting smaller but better. So it's like making it easy for us travel creators to produce, world-class visuals with the stuff you have in your backpack, basically.
I think you alluded really briefly now to filming yourself. Now, I think that's one of the biggest challenges as well, right? I've seen moments where you guys are together, and I'm like thinking, okay, well, they're in the middle of nowhere. They're both on the shot. I'm pretty sure they didn't fly in crew as well. So tell us about that process. Is it handheld? Is it tripod? Is it gimbal? How do you plan that shot, and how do you execute that?
So we use mainly a tripod. We get our composition right, first of all. So I would normally be the one filming. I would get someone in the shot. We get our frame, and then we'd literally just go and shoot on an interval timer, and I'd literally go and either I'd use my manual focus if I don't want the focus to jump, but now on the A7S III, we've got beautiful face recognition, or we've got the tracking. So that's amazing. That makes it much, much easier. But we'd get the shot set up. Simon would literally, sometimes we have like a place where I need to stand, so I know exactly. There's a little margin for error when you shoot yourself. And ultimately we make it work. A lot of people ask us, how do you produce this stuff? It looks like there's a whole team involved, where the majority of the time it's just us, but we also have a third shooter that we bring on the project that I have a bit bigger budget, and then we literally use, because it's just better to get more dynamic shots in the moment. You are limited with the tripod at the end of the day.
And it's less setup time.
Yes, we're
yeah.
trying to like grow a little bit so that we can have and increase the production quality of our work by having a third shooter to help us, especially with the gimbal moves, getting a little bit more movement into our video, that sort of thing. The tripod comes in very handy.
I love this, but let's talk about more of a personal approach. I mean, you are both married and colleagues. How do you manage that relationship? I mean, I hear my mom speaking, "Don't go into business with the family," and now you've done exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a difficult thing, but you know what's great is that I'm with my partner. We understand. We both, let's put it at the end of the day, we both have the same objectives and goals,
Right.
and that is to produce the best quality content that is out there. And we both align on that. So sometimes it can get tough, but we've had to learn to kind of put your personal interests aside and put that ego aside, especially when you're on the job. There's no time to have an argument or anything like that. We're here to do a job. So I think what's become handy is, especially in the beginning, right, when we just started this, both of us learned this photography and videography together. None of us had any experience prior to it. But in the beginning, there were blurred lines about who's doing what, who's best at this, specific, are you shooting, am I shooting, who's shooting? We were bumping heads a lot because I think this shot is better and you think this shot is better. But now that we've done it for a few years, I've realized, okay, Vernon is great at what he does. I'm not interfering there unless I can actually really add value to it. And then I'll do the editing and he'll also add, I'll give it to him to review. And we just review with one another. We've got the same goals. We align on it. And then it's magic.
I hear you, and you. There's a lot of hard work that goes into this, and you alluded to the fact that there's a crew. It feels like there's a crew, but there's not really, right? What are the typical misconceptions of travel filmmaking that people still ask you, and that you're like, guys, this is really not the way it looks like or feels like or we show?
If you look online, it looks like we're permanently on holiday. And the fact of the matter is just normally we rock up to a site and we are head first into it. We need to do our planning. We need to scope things out because time is very limited. The reality is most properties don't want you to stay there for a week. They are willing to give you maybe 2 nights, at most 3 nights.
Wow, so you have
your
to...
time is, you really have to work. And a lot of times we don't rest at all. We actually need a holiday from our Instagram, what looks like a holiday on Instagram. So that's the biggest misconceptions. People think that it's just we're having fun. We quickly take a few photos and then we relax in a jacuzzi. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's producing the work to the standard that we pride ourselves on. It takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, a lot of running around. If you're just 2 people and you're shooting at this massive reserve or like a farm, it's a massive pressure on your shoulders. So, I mean, we make it look natural because I feel that's what we are also paid to do as the lifestyle component of our shots. We need to make it look natural, but it's all of it is planning and there's intention behind it and it takes time.
But waking up early, surely. I mean, every filmmaker's dream is to get the sunrise shots, but it's also the hardest to wake up for and get ready and be prepared because you have to be there at dark already, right? So going into that game reserve, you have to be up early.
Yes.
You're giving me trauma talking about that. I hate it.
We've got projects where we're traveling very far. We're traveling to the Karoo to shoot a few properties back to back. And then it becomes you are there for more than a week, waking up every morning at 5 a.m. Now, currently 5 a.m. the sun's already up. So you're waking up very early, working until like 9. Because if you really need to get really nice astrophotography, you have to wait until it's like 10 p.m. or later.
Exactly.
So the hours are crazy. In the winter time, again, the sun comes up later, but then it's cold. So there's always like these challenges. But I think with any job, there are those challenges. And it's also the beauty of it, of once you get the shot and once you're up and you get that beautiful sunrise or that sunset, it's always been worth it. I've never regretted waking up early to get a beautiful shot.
You've been deeply involved in this industry. This has been something that you've committed your life to for the last few years. And tell us, where are you seeing the opportunities opening up within this industry? And maybe give us a realistic vision as to if I wanted to start this in my own journey, where should I start and what areas should I be looking at to get myself going?
in my honest opinion, I think the opportunities are endless in this industry, but you have to get there first. I mean, starting out right now, if you want to be a travel influencer, let's take it away from filmmaker, and you're starting with nothing, my advice would be just to start. Whatever you have, just start. But know that the competition at that level is really wide. Everyone wants to do it. It looks amazing, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
I mean, when we started as well, we didn't know a thing. We weren't really travelers. We were just kind of like winging it. And what is ISO and when should I, but you've got to start somewhere and start with what you have and build up from there, and niche out. Because, I mean, we had the opportunity where we started with food photography. We niched into travel filmmaking. But we decided, do we want to be influencers and just go viral and have these crazy videos that like millions of people see, but it's low quality? Or do we really want to put effort into that? And just, as soon as you click on our profile, that's, you get people can already have these thoughts about you. They judge you based on what you've posted. So we decided to niche it down and just make sure that whatever we do, let's not do it to go viral. Let's do it out of the passion about what we love to share and what really looks incredibly cinematic and aesthetic. So yeah, I don't know if you want to.
I think for me is also sticking to what you believe in, because over the long run, for us, that's what really has made the difference. In the short term, we were thinking, should we also just do this because everyone's doing it? There's these trends, and it's hot for 1 minute and then it's cold the next.
Right.
And I think, like Simon said earlier, the entry level, if you're entering this travel creator space, it's incredibly saturated. Everyone has their phone and basically doing the same thing. So I think the opportunity there is, if you can do something unique, whether it's your personality or whether it's the style of your content, just there is room to differentiate yourself. Too many people are just following and doing the same thing. So if you can set yourself apart, and especially in the travel creator space, I think there is a lot of room. Instagram now currently, it's an amazing tool to build your audience. I mean, even just as someone that's just filming on their phone, you can build an audience just with your mobile content. And if you can build an audience, that strengthens your negotiation with brands, because you can say, look, I can represent you and create content for you, and my audience would book to stay at your property and these kind of things. So you can even go and work on with affiliate links with a property and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities, but you have to be business minded about it. I think a lot of people just think it's just about posting a video, and it's more to it. So if you can get that bigger picture, I think there is a lot of opportunity to really do well for yourself.
And I mean, you can get trips internationally where a brand pays for your flights, they pay for you to be there to shoot content. I mean, I 5 years ago, I would be like, what? No ways. I would never believe that. But that is the reality. But you've got to put yourself in there and really commit to it and decide, what are you doing? How are you setting yourself apart? Because even if you just go on the explore page, every kind of travel video, they all have the same feel these days.
Right.
So differentiate yourself, make yourself stand out, make it look unique, and brands go for it. They want the next thing. All the brands also don't want to look all the same.
So if humility was a weakness of yours, tell me, why would a brand pay all that money to fly you out there and not use one of the local guys? I mean, I'd love to hear, you've talked about positioning and differentiation. Let's touch on that. Why did they go, listen, I want to use these two. They are the ones that will represent our brand correctly.
I think it really comes down to that relationship. There's something about that once you have that relationship with a client that differentiates you, because now it's become personal. It's become more that a thing of, they know who you are. They know what you stand for, your professionalism, that sort of thing. So I think for us, we aren't saying that we're competing with we're the best travel creators in the world. There's a lot of people that do what we do or do it even better. The reality is just there's something about the way that we treat our clients, the level of care that we provide, that from us also we represent a few properties as well in the back, doing their social media. So a lot of influencers reach out to us as well.
Interesting.
And we can just see how many people, it's just a one-time thing. Everything is so fast-paced, and we end up using each other. And there's not real value that we're providing. We just want to use you for a free stay and jump to the next. So I think a big thing for us is long-term relationships. And that's what I really feel has made a big difference.
So I'm fresh in this, but are there any words of advice of things I shouldn't do with new clients? Is there just maybe mistakes that you see influencers make that disappoint clients?
You have to be honest with the skills and your offering. It's one thing to have this very nice pitch that you did on ChatGPT and promise the client the world, but ultimately you are going to rock up on site. You're going to have to deliver on what you promised. And that's the quickest that clients are going to be unhappy with you, is if you promise them the world, but you didn't deliver. You have to be realistic with what you can do. And for a lot of people, that means not expecting to get paid the first time you're working with a property.
Yes.
You know, even I'd say go as far as being willing to pay yourself to stay at a place. Go produce the content, build your portfolio, so you can get to a place where you're confident enough to actually ask clients to pay you. I think there's that expectation as well that we're just going to get paid from the get-go. And it's just not the case. The clients aren't going to pay you for just having a phone, and you need to be able to provide value. I think that's the thing. You have to be honest with what you can do, what you can't do. Is there anything you want to add?
I have a lot to add. Communication is so important. Like communication, just so that everyone knows what is happening, at what stage it's happening, when we're doing what is this specific brief, what are we delivering, so that when you rock up on set, everyone is very, very clear on what the outcome is going to be for the shoot. Professionalism as well. I feel like our corporate background really helped us with that one.
True.
A lot of these guys that come into the industry, they don't know how to speak to a client on email. You know, they those types of things. Asking for deposits to make sure that your flow is ready, that your bookings are made properly, because some clients flake out last minute and then they don't see that, oh, you know, I've just lost a whole day where I could have booked another client in. I feel like, but communication and that professional relationship is so key. I mean, the way Vernon mentioned doing some trade exchanges, so working for free for the first time, I don't know how many retainer clients we've gotten because of that.
Wow.
Where we've said, hey, let's quickly do a shoot. We'll see how it goes. We don't promise them everything. We just say, we're going to do some photo, maybe some video. Let's see. And they're so impressed afterwards. They said, actually, how much do you guys charge? Wow. And those relationships, we've got 3+ years. That's ongoing. And that's all started because we were willing to work for free for the first time.
That is amazing, and I think the true value in this is the practicalities that you shared now. Is it's not just going to be big bucks out of the gate. Just because you're a wonderful, beautiful person, it's not going to happen. You have to have the skill, you have the tenacity, and you have to have an incredible way of communicating yourself and engaging with a client on a professional basis. Listen, guys, I've gotten so much value out of this, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And may your business really grow beyond your expectation this year, and that you really visit countries that just blow your minds. And we look forward to following your journey moving forward on social media as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. Really, really appreciate it. We had so much fun.
And be sure to follow their channel and be ready for the next episode of Filmworks Fantastic.